Start recording. All right. So today we're going to be talking about two things. We're going to be talking about set theory. We're going to be talking about modal quantifiers or modal logic, which sounds, again, really complicated, and there's weird symbols and things like that. But it's really not too bad. I guess let's review a little bit of the existential quantifiers from last time. So is it true that there exists a person named Hannah? True or false? There exists a person named Hannah. The live stream is offline. OBS is streaming. And YouTube has it live now, so try that. Okay. True or false? There exists a person named Hannah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say that's true. Is it true that all people are named Hannah? False. Prove it to me. Prove to me that this statement is false. Your name is Kenji. Your name isn't Hannah. Yeah. Exactly. It's very easy to prove these things to be false, right? All right. Is it true? Is it true that all people have names? Do all people have names? That's a controversial question. You know, get into the unborn issue. So not worry about that. All people who have been born, let's say, have names. So so we got a lot of people saying it's true. So how would you prove to me that that's true? Not so easy, is it? Like before, you just say, "Yeah, my name's Kenji." Right? Easy proof that it was false. How do you prove this to be true? All people you know that have names? Yeah, but that's, just a small fraction of all people on the planet. You can always call someone by something. Is the name a qualifier to be considered a person? Oh, ooh, I like that. You're not really a person until you're named, right? So if your parents don't give you a name, you're not a person. How would you prove it to be false? I would argue it's probably false because right now there's probably a baby somewhere. I can't prove it to you though. But there's probably a baby that just got born and the parents are arguing over the name. The name was supposed to be Robert. It's a girl, you can't call her Robert. We're ready for this. Yeah. So there's probably a nameless baby out there somewhere. Probably. I can't prove it to you though. So yeah. So what we're talking about today is that these two symbols here, this means possibly, and this means necessary. Okay. So I would say it's possible this is false. I would say it's possible it's false. And I would argue that by, giving you that scenario that I just told you earlier. There's probably somebody who's arguing over the name right now. I can't prove it to you. It seems possible though. Sekiro Shadows die twice. Yeah. They had 9 months to prepare a name. Yeah, but sometimes the ultrasound tells you it's a girl and it turns out to be a boy, So, or vice versa. And then you're not prepared for it, All right. Sometimes people have babies without knowing it. So, Apparently there's a TLC show on people who had kids without knowing they were pregnant. It's one of those things that makes you doubt humanity. All right, so there exists a country. There exists a country named Canada. True or false? Yeah, I think that seems true. Let's see if we can prove it. Wikipedia, Canada. Maybe this isn't proof exactly, but it's probably adequate warrant for belief, right? All right, so here is Canada as a country. All right, yeah, I'd say that's good enough. Good enough for got a national anthem. I'd say that's probably true. Yeah, I'd say it's true. Now, is it necessarily true that there must be a country named Canada? Is it necessary that Canada exists? Yeah. I'd say that it's not, for all, in some alternate world, and that's kind of what necessary and possibility refer to. There could be an alternate reality in which Canada does not exist. It's not necessary for Canada to exist. It could be in some realities. It could be the 51st state of America. All right. So, is it true that there exists a country named Cthulhu? What do you say? True or false? There's a country named Cthulhu. Okay, prove to me there is no country named Cthulhu. And by country, let's say we're excluding video games and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just plain reading of the word, right? Prove to me there is no country named Cthulhu. Google says there's a city. It's kind of cool. How would you prove this to me? Like if I just gave this to you as like an essay assignment, prove to me there is no country named Cthulhu. And let's restrict this to Earth, right? Because I don't want to get into questions of like aliens and all that stuff. Let's say, a country, plain reading of the word, on Earth, Wikipedia is a valid source. Making it easy on you guys, because who knows? There could be another alien planet. They could have a country named Cthulhu. There's a drama series called Cthulhu Country, Lovecraft Country, right? H.P. Lovecraft was this guy who wrote The Call of Cthulhu, and pretty racist dude also, which is why I think they get into race. As far as I've never seen Lovecraft Country, but I think that's why they get into issues of race, because H.P. Lovecraft was racist, and not like normal 100-year ago racism, but he was pretty racist, even for the time. So, country name Cthulhu today, we'll say. We'll say today, like right now. Is your country name Cthulhu? And okay, so in other languages, we'll say in English, right? We're just gonna keep making it easier and easier on you guys. So in English, standard meaning of the word country, like on Earth, not in a video game, not a city, just, plain reading of the words, right? I'm not here to do equivocations with you guys or split hairs. It is false, but how do you prove it to me? So Al Hasni, how do you prove to me there's no country named Cthulhu? You're claiming that you're claiming it's false. Demonstrate. How do you prove to me there is no country named Cthulhu? Look up every country in the world. Okay. There are no countries named Cthulhu according to the web. All right. So I like Juan's approach. Let's look up the list of every country in the world. Sure. So as you can see, proving a there exists statement to be false is hard, right? So like the example I gave last time, there exists a pin on the floor. Proving it to be true is easy. If I see one, oh, there it is. Proving it to be false takes a lot of work. Some people say it's impossible. It's not impossible. List of all countries. All right, let's do this. List of countries in simple English Wikipedia. All right, oh, they're sorted alphabetically. Nice. All right, so we'll scroll down here. And I don't see Cthulhu, so, okay, good enough for me. It's false. Okay. Google knows all countries in Cthulhu is one. Yeah, but, Google's not exactly a good reference, right? So, like, there's if you search for like Bismarck, right? Are you gonna get the city? Are you gonna get Otto von Bismarck? Are you gonna get the battleship? City of Bismarck, North Dakota. It's not necessarily reliable that you're gonna get what you're looking for, right? So you've got pictures of Otto von Bismarck, the battleship, and then a city like in close proximity to each other, right? Okay. So hitting up some sort of reference, like the list of all countries, something like that would be good enough for my purposes. Okay. I'm not going to. Is it doing it again? Or I can't select the thing. You doing it? You doing this to me? Not letting me click on the thing again. There we go. Microsoft OneNote is so disappointing. Okay, so is it possible that in some alternate reality there is a country named Cthulhu? Is it possible there exists a country named Cthulhu? Yeah, I'd say so. So necessary and it's doing it again. You go OneNote, never change. All right. Yeah. So necessary and possibility. The crypt key definition, at least of them, is like have you guys heard of like the multiple worlds? Multiple worlds. If I could spell. Multiple worlds hypothesis. Have you guys heard of that? The multiple worlds hypothesis? It's a big thing in like science fiction, fantasy, and things like that. So like, in like Full Metal Alchemist, there's like the Full Metal Alchemist world, and then there's like our world, right? And you can like travel between them. Yeah, alternate realities. In Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there's our world, and then there's the world without shrimp. It's exactly the same as our world, it just doesn't have any shrimp in it. All right. So, I don't know if I want to spoil the Avengers for you guys, but like, one of the big plot points in the most recent Avengers movie is that there's different timelines, different realities, and they sort of hop between them, right? Rick and Morty is, yeah, they have names for the different timelines. Like there's Earth, 587 or whatever, and so they can just jump between the different Earths and things like that. If you ruin your world by accidentally turning all people into Cronenbergs, then you find a similar world just like yours, except where Rick and Morty are died, and you jump over to it. Right. So, yeah, very common in sci-fi, fantasy. It's a possibility in quantum mechanics that one of the interpretations of quantum mechanics is that every time you have a quantum event that has different results, that causes a bifurcation of the universe, right? And so there is just an unbelievably large amount of universes out there. Some very similar to each other, some in which I blinked with one eye, and some in which I blinked with the other eye. There's a Community episode. I don't know if you guys heard the term darkest timeline. The darkest timeline. We're living in the darkest timeline. That is a phrase from the TV show Community, in which they roll a dice and that causes multiple universes to be generated, and so I think with the 6 on the die or something like that is the darkest timeline, and the guy goes out to get pizza and he comes back and things are on fire and people are screaming and they're just like, what the hell just happened, And so this phrase I've seen tossed around a fair bit. Doctor Strange about to mess up the timelines and universes. So every time we have a choice, there's a split in the timelines. Yeah, literally, not even a choice, but like literally anytime a quantum, because the way that quantum mechanics works is like you actually have a probability distribution, right? It's like, let's say you're going to measure the position of an electron. Before you measure it, the electron actually exists in a possibility field, and when you measure it, it's like, okay, I'm here, and then maybe you measure it again and it's like, I'm here, and maybe you measure it again and it's in Jupiter, right? Highly unlikely that it'd be in Jupiter, but possible. And so every time you make a measurement of an electron, that splits the universe into 2, essentially, or more. And so if you think about how many electrons are just in your body and how often there's quantum collapses going on, that's an unbelievably large. The human brain cannot comprehend how many different timelines would exist in the multiple worlds hypothesis. There you go. That's the GIF from Timeline. There you go. So he comes back with a pizza. Things are on fire. People are screaming. Yeah, it's probably worth watching the episode at some point if you haven't seen it. The multiverse, yeah. Some people like the multiverse theory. Some people don't like it. The thing is that a lot of people treat it as if it was real, and it's one of like 6 major interpretations of quantum mechanics. It seems awfully complicated, right, for there to be that many universes, but it's possible. So anyway, the words necessary and possibility are typically stated or understood in terms of multiple worlds hypothesis. Is it possible there is a world without shrimp? Exactly the same as ours, just no shrimp. What do you guys think? Do you think it's possible there is a world without shrimp? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It'd be a little weird because, you would go into like a seafood restaurant and there'd be a sign that says, shrimp $5 or whatever. It's on the menu. Exactly the same as ours, just no shrimp, right? Be a little weird. Maybe we could say it doesn't have any shrimp on the menus as well. Make it a little more plausible. Yeah, sure, it's possible. Now, is it possible? That's a world I would not want to live in. Yeah. The character in Buffy, Willow, was interested in, or Tara was interested in it because she was allergic. Yeah. There's a world without shrimp? Yeah. I'm allergic. Okay. Is it possible that there's a triangle with 4 sides? And again, we're not playing semantic games. We're not saying, well, in another universe, what they call triangles, we call squares. No, I'm not playing any of those semantic games with you guys. Not now, at least. Yeah. The definition, again, I'm using the plain meaning of words. I'm not doing any equivocation fallacies. I'm not saying, in some other universe they could have a different. No, it's like our understanding of the word triangle, right? We're speaking English right now, maybe in even a different language on Earth, triangle means, I don't know, something else. On Earth, we call those with 4 sides a square. Yeah. So this is false. It is not possible for a triangle to have 4 sides. Okay. Even in a different universe, we know that a triangle cannot have 4 sides. So, triangles are defined as a 3-sided polygon. Right? So, is it necessary that a triangle? Is it necessary that a triangle has 3 sides? There could be another reality where a triangle has 4 sides. Nope. That's what's really interesting about it. Is that no, there can't be another reality where a triangle has 4 sides. And again, we're using our understanding of the word triangle. Even if they had a universe where they called squares triangles, it doesn't matter. It's our meaning of the word. Again, I'm not playing any word games with you guys here. You'd go to their universe and be like, oh yeah, that's a triangle. It's got 3 sides, even if they don't speak English. Why would they? All right. Yeah. So it is necessary. This is true. It is necessary that a triangle has 3 sides. Let's do a couple more of these. Is it possible that Fresno State will win the World Series this year? Yeah. Sometimes you can be locked out of a championship, right? Like at this point, if you're not going to make the playoffs, you're not going to win the playoffs. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and so possibly it's kind of like there exists. It's a lot easier for it to be true than false, but yeah, sometimes you'd be locked out. All right, so is it necessarily true? Is it necessarily true that Fresno State has won the NCAA baseball title in the past? Your last quiz was on geography. This quiz is on sports. I'm not gonna do this to you guys on like a quiz, but I do think it's fair to test you guys on if Italy is in Europe or not, because yeah. So yeah, literally inside baseball. I'm not gonna do this to you guys in an actual quiz. Yeah, this is true. Fresno State won the baseball championship, College World Series. I forget what the title is. It has won in the past. So it is achievable to prove something is true if it is possible. Is it achievable to prove something is true if possible? Yeah, so like let's say that, you know, in order to prove something is possible, in order to prove that something is possible, come on, one note, there we go. In order to prove if something is possible, that's the same thing as saying not impossible. So if you want to prove that it's possible, you show that it's not impossible. Yeah. And so is it possible that if I flip a coin I'll get a head? Right? In order to demonstrate that, I just say, look, you know, there's a head on this, there's a tail on this. When I flip it, it's random. There's two outcomes. One of the outcomes is a head. Therefore, it's possible. That's how you prove it. Yeah, sure. However, if you wanted to prove that it was not possible for Fresno State to win the World Series, then you say, look, if they're not making the championships, they can't win. It's impossible. There's no way forward for this, logically speaking. Yeah, let's talk about the quiz, I guess, a little bit. There was a quiz due today, like I told you guys in the last class. You should always check Canvas. It'll have your, like I have homework due today at midnight, for example. You just always keep an eye on that. Some people, they only look at that and they don't look ahead enough, and that causes problems. Let's see, let's go over here. I don't have my phone on me. This is what's annoying about this. Let's see. Passcode? No. Alright, let's not do the quiz then. Okay. So, does there exist, I remember some of the questions though. Does there exist a country in Africa that speaks Spanish as its official language? And like I said, you guys could use Google on this one. Hate that two-step verification. I like it from a security standpoint, but I do not have my cell phone on me, and I don't want to pause class while I go wander around trying to find it. I think I know where it is, but all right. So prove to me that there exists a country in Africa that has Spanish as one of its official languages. All right, you're all saying true, but prove it to me. Give me sufficient warrant for belief. Show me enough evidence where I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's true. Look up a list of Spanish-speaking countries. Okay, we'll do it. You know, give me a name. Give me a name of a country. Republic of Equatorial Guinea. Very good. Yeah. So it's a small country. Has one of the highest per capita GDPs. Is run by, I believe, a dictator who could be fairly brutal as well. He's been in power since the 70s. Overthrew his uncle in a coup. Yeah. Equatorial Guinea is in fact the correct answer. So, yeah. And so that's how you demonstrate something, right? All you need to do is show one, right? Now, is it true that all countries in Africa have Spanish as their official language? False. Right? You guys got it? So demonstrate to me, prove to me, show me enough evidence that I will accept. That's what proof is, right? So evidence is... evidence is that which supports the claim, and proof is compelling evidence. Right? You can have evidence that disagrees with each other. Like in any sort of major court case, there's going to be evidence introduced on one side. Apple versus Epic is going to be going on in a couple months. Apple's going to be introducing evidence from Steam showing, look, competition here didn't reduce prices. Look, on these points, you guys had exactly the same price on a game. Epic will then introduce evidence showing that there are places where when Steam has a sale, then they get more sales than Epic, and they're going to be introducing evidence. Evidence can support the claim Apple's evil. There's evidence probably that Apple's not evil, and basically proof is when you have enough evidence that it's compelling, that you're like, okay, that's true. For example, for Equatorial Guinea, I would accept that Wikipedia page where it lists Spanish as an official language. I accept that as proof, right? I have no reason to doubt Wikipedia on Equatorial Guinea as official language. That's good enough for me. I'm not going to belabor the point very much. Now, in order for you to prove to me that there is a country in Africa that does not have, Spanish as an official language, you're going to have to show me too much work proving that claim to be false. No, it's actually very easy. Because I asked you, is it true that all countries in Egypt, or all countries in Africa, speak Spanish? It's actually very easy to prove to be false, right? Right? For all countries in Africa, they speak Spanish. Very easy. All you have to do is find me one, like Egypt, speak Spanish as an official language. It's actually a very easy proof to make. Egypt. Here you go. All right. Equatorial Guinea is actually the only country in Africa that has Spanish as an official language, and so it's a very easy proof to make. You're like, here's Zaire, here's Zimbabwe, here's Chad, here's Libya, here's Morocco. Any one of those would prove that this claim here is false. Proving a for all to be true is hard. You'd have to, is it true that all countries in Africa are below the equator? Then you have to start, and if you're going to try and prove that to be true, which I don't think it is, you have to go through every country and be like, so proving a for all statement to be false is easy, usually. Okay. All right. So necessary and possibly. Is it necessarily true? Is it necessarily true that all integers are evenly divisible by 2? In other words, no remainder. Is it necessarily true that all integers are evenly divisible by 2? What do you guys think? Are all integers even? That's another way of putting it. And so you can see that there's a relationship between necessary and for all, right? But it's not exactly the same thing. This is false. It is not necessarily true, right? And to prove this to be the case, you just be like, here's the number 3. 3 is not evenly divisible by 2. Okay. But it's not equivalent to for all, right? Is it possible? Is it possible that all integers are evenly divisible by 2? What do you think? Is it possible that all integers are even? What do you guys think? It's a weaker claim. Or is it still false? Is it possible that all integers are even integers? Nope, still not possible. So even though some students will sort of think that necessary and for all are the same, they're not. Right? Impossible and there exists are the same, they're not. Possible is weak, just like there exists is weak. You know, there exists a person with the name of Hannah is a very weak claim, right? There just needs to be one. Whereas for all people they're named Hannah, that's a very strong claim, right? That every single person on the planet is named Hannah. Not true. And necessary means for all possible worlds, and possibly means just one world, right? But they're not equivalent, right? So even though I put in a possibly here, it's still false. It is not possible that all integers are even integers, right? So they're not the same thing as the ones we did last time. So these are called modal qualifiers. So these are called modal or modal logic. Modal means having to do with possibility. Is it possible? Modal. Qualifiers. And this is in your Xi books. Talk a lot about quantifiers. And so in day-to-day conversation, erasing quantifiers. So the quantifiers we know are there exists for all, necessary, possible. And again, you just kind of have to get used to the symbols because I don't know. They just don't want to write things out, I guess. So in online conversations, hey, I think it's possible that that's a good example. I don't want to go into conspiracy theories. It's possible lizard people run the government. You know, let's not go with that. I think it's possible that the CIA was behind. No, that's still the JFK assassination. It's still a conspiracy theory. It is possible that almost anything I come up with sounds like a conspiracy theory. That let's see. It's possible that Saddam Hussein thought that he had the permission of America to invade Kuwait. Okay. It's possible Saddam Hussein thought he had permission to invade Kuwait. Yep. So you know, that's a fairly weak claim, right? Possible is a very low standard of evidence, right? All you have to do is say it's not impossible. You know, I'm sure he had some conversations with some American diplomats at some point. Who knows what he thought? We don't really know. He's dead now, right? You might even find evidence to support this, but possible is it's a very weak claim, right? Like, it's possible that you know, there's three-headed aliens in the universe, right? Like, that's probably a true statement. You know, it's possible. You know, I don't know. You know, you guys understand? So, like, this is, you know, this is a weak claim. This is a strong claim. Strong claim. It's a weak claim, right? And all you have to do, like, if I say it's possible there's three-headed aliens in the universe, all I have to do is say it's not impossible. Like, there's no inherent contradiction between aliens and having three heads. You know, there is a contradiction with, like, all integers being even, right? Because there are odd integers, so it's impossible, right? It is impossible for all integers to be even integers, right? Some of the integers are odd. But for like aliens or whatever, there's no inherent contradiction between the word alien and having 3 heads. So yeah, it's true. I guess it's true. There's a possibility for 3-headed aliens to exist, right? It's a very weak claim. But what happens in online conversations is that people will erase the quantifiers. This is what happens. This is what happens in an online conversation, or in an online debate or something like this. You say it is possible 3-headed aliens exist. Right? What happens is when the person responds to you, they erase the modal qualifier. What? You're saying that 3-headed aliens exist? Prove it to me. You guys understand? So the single biggest cause of straw manning, because that would be a straw man fallacy, the single biggest cause of straw manning fallacy in online conversations, as far as I can tell, is people mentally erasing quantifiers. Probably because they haven't had this class, so they don't understand what it means, right? Or maybe, I mean, they know what the word possible means, but they don't really understand it. And they don't understand that by erasing this, what they do is they read the statement and then they go like this. And they think that what you said is, it is true. Right? Do you guys see the difference there? That and that are 2 very, very different claims. You guys understand? Possible is a very, very, very weak claim. All you're doing is saying it's not impossible, right? There's no inherent contradiction within the concept of 3-headed alien. That's it. Like, they may not exist, right? It's possible. Possible means they could exist, they could not exist, right? Even if no aliens existed, this statement would still, even after we finished exploring, it's just like there's no inherent contradiction in it. And so if you change that to be, I am claiming it is true that they exist, that is a strong claim, right? I know that 3-headed aliens. Prove it. Prove that 3-headed aliens exist. No, that's not what I claimed, dude. I just claimed it's possible. Prove it is possible. All right, there's no contradiction. Done. That's it. That's all you have to do to prove that it's possible. There's no contradiction. Right? Maybe you can prove it's impossible. Maybe it's not possible that Fresno State will win the World Series. Right? And you can show, look, mathematically speaking, they can't do it. But for something like this, like, it's a very, very weak claim. They may exist, they may not exist. I'm not saying they exist, but people just mentally scrub out those quantifiers. Okay, and this will explain to you a lot of online conversations. Okay, anytime somebody uses one of these four terms here, there exists for all necessary possible. The most common response from somebody is they just mentally wipe it out, they scrub it out, and put something else in there. That is the most common source of straw manning that I have seen online. Okay. So when possible, someone does not need to provide evidence. Yeah, you don't have to, because they might not. Possible means they may exist, they may not exist. You don't have to actually prove that they exist, because they might not. You're just saying it's possible. Right? It's pretty, it's pretty straightforward. So all you have to do to prove something is possible is to show that it's not impossible. And impossible would mean there's an internal contradiction in the topic. Or maybe if you could somehow prove aliens don't exist, like maybe we finally scouted out all the planets in the galaxy or universe, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's say we did. We have a portal system like in Rick and Morty, and we get every planet in the universe mapped out, and there are no aliens anywhere. It's just us. Well, in that case, this statement becomes false, right? Because in order for there to be a 3-headed alien, there must be an alien. You know what I mean? So. Because there is no evidence for aliens, therefore there is no aliens. No. No. Right now, though, based on what we know, there could be aliens, there could not be aliens. There is no inherent contradiction in the term three-headed alien. Therefore, it is possible. Okay. Yeah. Does it go both ways? Sure. Yeah. It is possible that three-headed aliens do not exist. Sure. Absolutely. It's the same statement. It's actually literally the same claim. It is possible they exist. Means it's possible they don't exist. Because if you know if they exist, or if you know they don't exist, then you wouldn't use possible. So it's like when a friend asks for advice, you give it to them, you add, but I don't know, though, at the end of it. Yeah, I can see that being in the same realm, right? Same kind of idea. Like, do you think I should file my taxes this year? Like, hey, man, I'm not a tax person. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. It's possible you should. It's the worst advice you give somebody. It's possible you should file your taxes. Well, that tells me absolutely nothing, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. Whereas, if you go to the IRS website, the IRS will have guidelines on when you must file taxes, right? And so, if you make, I think it's over $500. Don't quote me on this. I'm not a tax person. It's something like $500. If you make over that threshold, then you have to report your income, right? So, yeah. And so if you knew that, let's say the threshold's 500, just to pull up a number out of thin air, then if you knew that, then you'd say, no, it's necessary. It's necessary you file your taxes. The IRS said so, right? This is the threshold. You made over it. You made $10,000 last year. You're way over the minimum threshold. You need to report your income, and you need to file taxes. Okay. So, yeah. As far as I know, the IRS doesn't care if you're on a lemonade stand and make like $50 or whatever. Like, I don't think they want to care about that. But if you make over whatever the threshold is, then yeah, it's necessary. You file your taxes. It's necessary you report your income. Makes sense to you guys? I think maybe I could give you guys a online scavenger hunt where you find somebody mentally erasing this. You could probably do that. Or would you rather do a social media scavenger hunt, or would you rather just have a quiz on this? What do you know? Go onto Reddit, find a place where somebody mentally erased a quantifier. Alright, looks like quiz is much more popular. All right. Fair enough. I'll put up a quiz for this. It'll be due at the start of next class. So, yeah, that's fine. It's easier for me to grade, too. Whenever I give one of those, I have to go through all the links and make sure that people actually found what they said they found. Which a lot of times they weren't. So sure, I will put up a quiz on this. It'll be due at the start of the next class, and we will talk about probably set theory next time, actually, and that'll probably bring the week on quantifiers to an end when we talk about set theory next time. Okay. And then we got some more interesting stuff to talk about. So hopefully it was fun for you guys. I know these things look like weird alien symbols, speaking of three-headed aliens, but once you kind of learn to translate them mentally into English, like, I don't think they're too bad. And your English engine works pretty well on these things. Like I told you guys, with the invalid, valid, and sound, your English brain will deceive you and cause you to get wrong answers on the modal qualifiers and the existential quantifiers. Yeah, it's your intuition usually works pretty well. Okay. Are we still gonna be using Scratch? Yeah, we're gonna get back to Scratch. I promise. But I'm trying to get through quantifiers right now because Zybooks is on quantifiers this week, and so I'm trying to have my lecture match the Zybooks on it. And we are going to talk about social issues in computer science. I promise. Normally I would have done a lot more by this point, but I'm kind of, like I said, I'm just kind of following the Zai books right now so that you guys are kind of getting lectures matching the textbook. So it'll kind of reinforce each other. But yeah, social issues in computer science are really important. And we're going to be getting into those more. And we're going to be doing more programming for sure. Okay. So thanks, you guys. If you have any questions about what these symbols mean, post on the Help Center or send me a message. I'm available 24/7, as long as I'm not playing Valheim. So I will see you guys later. See you guys on